It's time now for Civic Center News. Here's Emmy Lucas.
As one of the main arteries in the west side of Detroit, Orchard Lake Road spans roughly 15 miles and through 7 communities here in Oakland County. And when you're stuck in rush hour traffic like you can see right behind me, it can turn minutes into what seems like hours. But for those who frequent the area of Orchard Lake and 14 Mile, the future construction of a roundabout at the intersection will eliminate lights and alleviate stop-and-go traffic. And set to break ground in spring of 2014, the project is expected to be completed by November. With 3 roundabouts already in place, the West Bloomfield community isn't completely foreign to the traffic concept, but undoubtedly, the busyness combined with the long construction outline for the addition leaves some with mixed feelings.
I like the roundabouts. I know a few older people that don't know how to drive, can't really handle them, but as far as traffic flow, it really does help reduce traffic.
This is going to affect our business big time because it's going to be a major construction in this area, and this is going to take a lot of business away from my place.
I personally like them. I've experienced them in England, so I knew before they got here what they were like. I think for some people who aren't used to them, it takes quite a bit of getting used to.
There's a lot of people, they're going to avoid this corner, even now in the future, because they know it's going to be more busier than right now.
Well, if you live in Michigan, you're used to construction.
And today, Civic Center TV talks with the Road Commission for Oakland County to discuss some of the questions that are left to be answered. Joining me now from the site of what will be the newest addition to the roundabouts in the West Bloomfield area is Public Information Officer for the Road Commission for Oakland County, Craig Bryson. Thank you so much for joining us and speaking with us about this huge undertaking that you guys are about to begin construction, I believe, in 2014?
That is correct, yep.
Okay. So now, first, why implement roundabouts into the Oakland County roadways?
There's a variety of reasons. The 2 biggest reasons are safety and ability to move traffic. From a safety point of view, there is virtually nothing else we can do as a road agency that has such an impact on safety. Comparing a signalized intersection to a roundabout, roundabouts have been shown to reduce traffic fatalities by about 90%, serious injury accidents by about 75%, and total crashes by 30-some%. So that's huge. Very little that we can do that has that kind of an impact. Additionally, they move considerably more traffic continuously compared to a signalized intersection, so they reduce congestion, reduce the chance of people getting injured or killed. And those are huge factors for us.
Now, how long have the wheels been in motion for this particular area, the 14 and Orchard Lake area?
Well, that's a great question. This is part of a larger project called the Northwestern Connector Project, which literally dates back to the 50s. This all started back in the 50s when the Michigan Department of Transportation had plans to build Northwestern Highway out here. Their original plan was to take Northwestern Highway all the way out to Fenton, all the way across Oakland County. As we all know, it stopped here at Orchard Lake Road. Well, back in 1957, the Road Commission contributed several $1 million to MDOT as part of the construction cost to build the highway all the way across the county. Because it was never built, we ended up getting into a legal dispute with MDOT because we contributed money to this project back in the 50s. That eventually worked its way through the court system to an out-of-court settlement in 2000 in which MDOT agreed to contribute $30 million to improvements to the surface roads in this area to help move traffic in the direction that the Northwestern Highway would have had it been built all the way out. So that all leads us to the plan we have today, which includes the roundabout here, the 3 previously constructed roundabouts, and hopefully, if there's additional funding found, some additional road improvements to the area around the point where Northwestern Connector ends.
Well, that sounds like a lot of planning in the making to get this to be so successful.
50 years.
Now, but this is going to be the 4th roundabout. Like you said, there's already roundabouts in the area. We have Maple and Drake, Maple and Farmington, and then
14 in Farmington.
14 in Farmington. So this will be the 4th roundabout in just 6 years to the community. So it's kind of, the process is, it seems like you're kind of easing them into it, but I feel like this is a whole different monster. So how have the other areas done with alleviate, or how have the other roundabouts done to alleviate the traffic in those areas, and how do you think it's going to do here?
Well, you're absolutely right, and that was all part of our plan. Rather than starting with one roundabout on Orchard Lake Road, which is one of the top 3 or 4 busiest county roads in Oakland County. We did want to start on Maple Road and on 14 Mile Road where there's less traffic. People can get used to them a little bit more. The biggest impact probably has been on Maple Road. If you recall ever driving through Maple Road at the Drake and Farmington intersections prior to the construction of those roundabouts during rush hour, it was not uncommon to sit at those intersections for 20 minutes or more to try to get through during rush hour. With these roundabouts, there's virtually no backup any time of day. Traffic flows continuously through those intersections. It's made a world of difference as far as traffic flow in the area.
And then, like you said, it's one of the busiest ones, and that's not a difficult thing to understand if you live and shop in this area. Now, if the traffic is flowing right here, but we still have lights down there at Maple and Orchard Lake, we have lights down there at 13 Orchard Lake, so if we have all of a sudden this flow, isn't it going to just stop at the other areas?
Well, that's all taken into consideration in the design. Part of the additional future plans here are to build a boulevard on Orchard Lake Road between 14 Mile and Maple. So that will be the next step. The roundabout will be in 14, and then either in 15 or 16 we'll build a boulevard north of here that will help to continue to move the traffic north of that roundabout. That is something we took into consideration. It will be a little bit of a challenge. There's a lot of traffic here. We're talking 50,000 cars a day on the north-south Orchard Lake Road here.
Now, I've spoken with some of the residents and some of the business owners in the area, and really their main concern seems to be the construction. Starting in 2014 in the spring and going all the way through 2014, and that should be from start to finish?
That is correct. It will be finished fully open by the end of 2014. There may be some landscaping or grass restoration work left to do in 2015, but the road itself will be finished and open by the end of 2014.
And now the boulevards and all the other additions that you're talking about to keep the traffic flowing with the roundabout, you said now 2016, so business people and residents should expect a lot of construction for
2015 or
couple
2016, yep, and that also will be a major project. We certainly understand those concerns. We try to do everything we can to facilitate access to businesses. We won't block access to any business, but it is a major construction project and it will disrupt traffic flow. That's unfortunately one of the inevitable and unavoidable downsides of road construction. But as I said, we'll do everything we can to maintain access to every business, every side street, and try to keep traffic flowing as well as we can during construction.
Now, once traffic is flowing, it can be a little intimidating just being stopped at a light up here at 14 and Orchard, or even down there at the Northwestern Connector. So what do you have to say to some of the residents that might be a little bit weary and scared about having the constant traffic flow and not even getting a second to breathe coming into this area?
Right. Well, and we have heard that a little bit from the other roundabouts, that some people have some trepidation about just driving in roundabouts. Our experience is that once you've done it once or twice, you get the feeling for how it works, you understand it, and it becomes shortly a little second nature, just like driving through a traffic signal can be intimidating if you've not done it a lot before in a busy road. But it's something you learn, and the theory is the same at all of the roundabouts. So once you've driven one roundabout, they may be bigger or smaller, more or less traffic, but the theory remains the same. You pick your lane and you go through.
And then what about pedestrians is another major concern. As you see, it's not a huge walking community around here, but we do have sidewalks and we do have the stoplights and everything, so people can get across the street. How is that going to be affected by the roundabouts?
We actually think it's easier, and there are a lot of national studies that suggest it's easier for pedestrians to cross a roundabout than it is to cross a huge, busy intersection like this. With the roundabout, you're only crossing one direction of traffic at a time. There's what we call a splitter island in the middle of each of the approaches to the intersection. So the pedestrian would cross from the outside to the center splitter island, crossing only one direction of traffic, then cross the other direction of traffic from the splitter line to the other side. So there's a break in the middle. They're only looking, in one direction. You only have to worry about traffic from one direction. We think it'll be easier and safer. This is not an easy intersection to cross right now for pedestrians. We have people turning right on red. You have traffic, going in all directions all the time. Very heavily traveled. We think it'll be easier to cross when it's rebuilt as a roundabout.
Now, aside from the traffic flow, you had talked about the safety that roundabouts can offer a community.
Right.
Can you tell me maybe some of the statistics with the accidents and what's happened at the other roundabouts?
Sure. First of all, we built our first roundabout in Oakland County in 1999. Since that time, we have had 0 fatalities, 0 serious injury accidents at any of those roundabouts. And that's critical because intersections are where in urbanized areas, intersections are where most of the serious injury accidents and the fatalities occur. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Most times that happens when a car is driving through the intersection and either gets in a head-on collision with somebody coming at them or is turning left and gets broadsided. Those are the types of accidents we know where people are killed or seriously injured. In a roundabout, you're physically eliminating the potential for either of those types of accidents, unless somebody goes over the center, which is highly unlikely and extremely rare, or goes the wrong way in the roundabout, which again is very difficult to do. So you're physically eliminating the two most dangerous types of intersections, and you know, that is a huge impact on safety. Again, we've had what we sometimes see is a very slight increase in fender benders as people merge into the roundabout. They may, you know, if somebody's not watching, they may have a fender bender with somebody else. From our point of view, we think it's a good trade-off to see maybe a slight increase in fender benders when a roundabout first opens compared to fatalities or serious injuries. You know, if we can get rid of those two categories, fatalities and serious injuries, that's huge. That's monumental from a safety point of view, from a road point of view.
Okay. So again, starting in the spring of 2014, all the way potentially with the other additions and kind of the revamping that you're doing to the rest of this section of the Orchard Lake corridor, could be into 2016.
Right. The roundabout itself is only 2014. The boulevard will be in either 2015 or 2016, depending on when we can acquire all the necessary right-of-way, line up the funding, get everything going on that. Either 2015 or 2016. It's possible if it's in 2016, there'll be a year break between the projects. If it is in 2015, it should be finished mostly in 2015, and then you know, a calm year after that in 2016.
And then what about the upkeep? Because everybody in Michigan knows that anytime the sun's out, it's pretty much construction season. So obviously the upkeep is pretty important, and how is that going to be affected if, say, you know, they need to shut down a roundabout?
Well, the good thing is, with new pavement, there's very few reasons why we would need to shut down. Most of the heavy maintenance comes on the roads that are old and falling apart, and we have no shortage of those. But these will be newly constructed. The roundabout will be constructed in concrete, which should last 20 years. You know, it should be years before there's any serious maintenance needed out there. You know, that's the benefit of a new road.
Okay, well, let's hope so. Is there anything you would like to add to tell our viewers to educate them about the roundabout that's coming in here, to settle any mixed feelings?
Absolutely. We have heard, as I mentioned before, some trepidation from some drivers. Sometimes it's the seniors that are a little bit unfamiliar with these. I would encourage people to just give them a try. You know, if you're really uncomfortable, come out here early in the morning when there's very little traffic and just take your time going through. And we can talk a little bit about the correct process for what you do when you drive around it. But after you try it a few times, I think most people will get to like them and really appreciate the fact that you're not sitting there at a red light, you know, with your white knuckles on the steering wheel waiting for the light to change. You're just kind of continually moving through the intersection.
Again, construction is scheduled to begin in March of 2014 and last all the way until November of next year for the roundabout here at 14 and Orchard Lake. If you have any questions or concerns about the construction or the completion of the project, you can contact the Road Commission for Oakland County. For Civic Center TV, I'm Emmy Lucas.